Welcome back to the next tutorial. Now, as I said in the previous one that we will be dealing with switch case in this tutorial. So what we'll be doing is we'll be making exactly the same piece of code which we made in the previous one using switch case, so that you guys can easily differentiate and understand as to why switch case is preferred in certain cases than the if else. So let's go ahead and read a choice from the user again. Here's the menu. Now why I am writing all this again is because I want you guys to get accustomed to the basic functions which we use like printf, scanf, etc. So again we'll enter a new line name. The second one was age. The third one I guess was company, right? And the fourth one was obviously exit. Great, so now we have displayed the menu. Now we'll ask the user to enter the choice, and we'll be reading the value of choice. So percentage d ampersand choice. Okay, now we have the menu, we displayed the menu and we took the choice. Now we need to take a decision, right? We need to decide what choice the user entered and what do we want to perform an action accordingly. So now we'll be using the switch case. The basic syntax of switch case is this. We have switch condition and inside the block we have multiple cases. Right, this is the basic syntax of a switch case. So the condition, or basically here what we enter is the variable which we are going to compare, right? So we need to compare the value of choice with 1, 2, 3, 4 and decide accordingly, right? So we'll enter choice here inside the brackets. So what this means is that we'll be switching the value of choice in a literal sense, that we'll be checking the condition for each and every case. So if the choice is 1, we'll write case 1 and we'll do something. If the choice is 2, we'll write case 2 and we'll do something. If the choice is 3, we'll write case 3 and do something. And if the choice is neither of those, we have something called a default case, right? So if the choice is 4, we'll execute the default statement. Right, so let's go ahead and again write whatever we wanted to. So we wrote something like you chose the name, and I just copy this and use it for the 2 and 3 as well, and for the default case as well. So here we need to modify it to age and company, and you chose to quit or exit, whatever. Okay, so now this looks good. So now what should actually happen is that if we enter 1, we should get only this line as the output, and if we enter 2, we should get only this line as the output, and so on and so forth. So let's actually go ahead and see if that happens or not. Well, I am sure you will be surprised with the result. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter this choice as 2. So there we go, I entered the choice 2, but hey, what is the output? You chose the age, you chose the company, and you chose to quit. Is there something wrong with the compiler? No, absolutely not. What happens is that in switch case there is something unique. What that is that if any of these choices satisfied, or if any of these cases satisfied, all the cases below it till we reach the end of the block are executed. So since in this case we entered 2, and so case 2 was executed along with all the cases following it till the end of the block, right? So now how do we get across this problem? There is something called as a break keyword. So what break basically does is it takes the control out from the nearest block. So in this case the nearest block is the switch block, or the innermost block is the switch block, right? So the break will basically transfer the control from here to outside of the block, which is here, and since we have no code here, so the program should quit automatically. So let's go ahead and add break to all of these cases. And this is a very occasionally happens while using switch case. We forget the break keyword most of the times, and there is a special name given to it, which is something called as a fall through, which basically means that the code will fall down till the end if you do not use a break keyword, right? So that is a funny technical name given to this problem. Okay, now we do not actually need to add a break in the default case because there is nothing after the default case, so it will actually quit after the default case automatically. So now let's go ahead and run the code and see if it runs as we want it to. So now again, if I enter choices 2, I should get only age, and there we go, we get you choose the age. Perfect. So now since we also wanted to quit the code, we can use the exit function here as well. Great. And there is one last thing, that is that these cases need not be in any serial order, right? Like we have case 1, 2 or 3 here, we can have case 3 in the beginning, or we can have case 3 in the middle of these two. These can be in any jumbled order. And another important thing is that we can either have integers, or we can have floats, or we can have characters. So we can have three sorts of cases. We can have integers, floats, or characters, right? So it supports all the three conditions. So if the value of choice is say 1.1, then this will be executed. If the value of choice is a, which is not possible in this case since it is an integer, but still if you say are using it in some other piece of code, so that is what the switch case supports. It supports integers, floats, and characters. And that is the advantage of switch case over if else, because you can compare floats in if, but it is a bit difficult to compare the characters, right? So let's say we want to compare it from a to z, so how many times you have to write if, else if, else if, else if, and it will go on and on, right? So that is all about the switch case. Go ahead, try it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.